Hey everyone! Today we're doing another flip through, and this time it's going to be me flipping through not something I knew I got, but something I got many years ago when a friend of mine introduced me to Oyasumi Punpun or Goodnight Punpun, and it's still one of my favorite mangas to this day. And we're this is going to be a spoiler-free review, so we're not going to spoil any major plot points because there are a lot in this one because it's the last volume of the series. But I just wanted to see how Tete will react and interpret some of the paneling here. And in all of we respect copyright here, so you will not be able to see the text. It's mostly just like you know some random images, and the text is really blurry, and also it's in French. I got this in French because I could not find the English version for some reason through Amazon, so this is in French. So
Wow,
yeah,
random.
I don't think most of our audience will be able to understand what's going on here, but yes.
So this is I'm very excited. I know how this work in particular is of great creative and inspirational significance to you. So I'm very, very eager to see glimpses of it.
Right. So I guess we have these beautiful night scenes that are also very horrifying.
Oh my, I sense that feeling of horror like you get with modern manga.
Hmm. It's
Oh, it's
very heavily psychological. Like there's like a lot of panels where there's nothing really said, but a lot is communicated through body language.
that is so deepening. Like that is so subtle and frightening because a lot is conveyed through subtle body language that we ourselves may not even notice we're conveying to another person.
Right. And this is one of my favorite scenes because it looks so beautiful. They are in this, pristine rural part of Japan, but
Mm,
at the same time it's very terrifying because of what they're saying to each other and the implications of it. Basically it's kind of the death of an ideal without
that is
spoiling anything.
that is so that's crushing, man.
Yeah, it is very soul crushing. And then you
Yeah.
have these urban scenescapes that look really amazing. So basically Punpun has gone back to the top of a building that he was in near the beginning of the series, and he's thinking a lot about how he's changed since, the last 10 years since he was here.
Wow. That I think everyone so many people go through that, I will say, and a lot of that can be pretty heavy to
Mhm.
contemplate all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, here are more urban scenes. I really like how, Inio Asano, the mangaka, he actually takes photos of these places and then he places a bunch of filters and then he refines it so it fits into his drawings of the characters.
It really is amazing. It's an amazing technique. I think it works so beautifully for this because not only does it immerse you in a reality, but it's a reality that doesn't look too jarring from the style of the characters that he draws.
Exactly.
Yes.
And here's the black pages. This is kind of like what I do in the Book of Joel when the
Yes.
characters have a lot of monologues or they are thinking deeply about something, the page goes black. And basically, the narration we do see is basically the character talking to themselves. And in this particular scene, Pun Pun is thinking about something traumatic that has just happened and how it ties into his past and how he thinks he will live from now on.
Wow, that I love how we see the influences that this work had for you because you've done it to brilliant effect with the Book of Joel, like with the black pages, as well as the backgrounds, because your backgrounds are very real and immersive.
Thank you. Like I was really kind of inspired by him in a sense because I was like we need to have better backgrounds. Sometimes when you just put a random color in a background kind of like what you see in webtoon for example, it doesn't have the same effect.
It doesn't, no, it does not. I mean, background it really changes the immersive reality for a character because then it shows a character in a world rather than just a character in and of itself.
This one I think is a really good example, the subway picture.
Yeah, I really like how it's immersive. I feel like we're standing in front of someone peering over their shoulder, if you will.
Mhm. And yeah, I'm going to end this very soon, but this is one of my favorite parts of the ending of Oyasumi Punpun. We're actually seeing the life of this character here, who we actually met at the very beginning of the series, but he's not very important. He's just a random classmate of Punpun's from when they were 11 or 10 years old. But we see that now he's a teacher now. Look at him. So he's looking, and then he sees someone that's very recognizable, and that's Punpun. And from his perspective, he sees Punpun as someone who is just like him, someone who has a career, and he's also surrounded by friends. Let me find that picture. So from his perspective, Punpun looks absolutely normal. So then after he's talking to Punpun, he sees this woman with a baby approach him. And then he thinks that, oh, Punpun's married and has a kid now. But in reality, that's kind of complicated. This is Sachi, by the way. I told you about her.
Yes,
But
you did.
this is not Punpun's kid, and he's not in a relationship with her. But to the outside world, it looks that way. So he looks like a functional, normal, quote unquote, person from the perspective of the guy with glasses. But we know Punpun's not. We know he's messed up.
We do. That's
Yeah.
so striking, and it shows the outside mask we present to the world when we enter. When we go, as soon as we go outside our door.
Yeah, and this is an interesting part. So basically, what happens is that he's waving goodbye to Punpun, and then Punpun thinks about, in these boxes on the next page, where he thinks about, this might be the last time, and probably is the last time we'll ever see each other, and that's okay. I mean, there's so many people who enter and leave Punpun's life, and they make him think about certain things, but maybe sometimes it's better not to dwell too long on why people leave and why people enter your life.
That's a very excellent thought process, and I think that would help a lot of people process transitions. I think a lot better. Like social and emotional transitions.
Right, exactly. I think Punpun really makes you think about a lot of mundane things and kind of realize the gravity of a lot of things, but at the same time realize that you don't have to take things so seriously.
That's very true. I think maybe the main problem for a lot of people is that they take things too seriously.
Right. And I think Punpun is a really great balance of tragic and mundane. Unfortunately, a lot of media these days, when it's tragic, it's over the top. Game of Thrones, extreme violence, sexual assaults, and all those kind of things
Yes,
happening, right? But then
right.
there's so many different types of tragedies. I mean, the tragedy of a wasted life, for example, a very mundane life. I mean, that could happen too. It doesn't always have to be, Handmaid's Tale or Game of Thrones or something like that.
It doesn't have to be, no. Sometimes it's the subtle things. It's those small subtle things that probably hurt the most because they happen the most and they are the most relatable for almost every human being on the planet that has some form of connection or some sort of groundedness in society.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this page, I mean, this cover is actually covering a beautiful image that I really like personally, and it's one of the few colored images that we see.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it is, and this gives you a glimpse of what the nature that we saw inside the book looks like if it was in full color.
Oh my, that's absolutely stunning. It's so realistic and natural. It's very immersive.
It is, yeah, and it's even more, it's sad once you realize what happens to this character in this volume, and also how her role in Punpun's life really changes and how he perceives her.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be very heart wrenching. It's going to be like PMM all over again. Oh my.
Only without the magic. It's all
True.
mundane.
That's true. Minus the magic and cool, stellar designs.
Right. So thank you for analyzing this with me. I really love Punpun. It's still one of my favorite series, and I will never let down on the opportunity to promote it.
Yes, it's a beautiful work. I am so glad you shared it. I really see the influences, and it's wonderful that you have a work that influences you like that. Very few people can find something that inspires them like that.
Right. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.